Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. This is just out of interest really. We're always talking about, fertilisers for our orchids and have they got all the right stuff in and all things like that, and there's all sort of dependencies and stuff like that. This is what I use outside in the garden. So this is what the garden tubs get and my bonsai get, and at the moment my cymbidium's getting, because that's outside. And just out of interest, I thought, I wonder what's actually in this. And basically the rate of use is 1 scoop per 4.5 litres, UK gallon-ish. It doesn't have to be exact, obviously. And it gives you some sort of recommended dosages. But I thought, yeah, but what's actually in it? And basically, going down the list, it's got the NPK is 12.5, 5 and 25. So it's yeah, pretty high on the potassium. But nonetheless, the nitrogen is basically 2 types, ammonium and nitrogen, whatever that is. But the fact that this is going into soil-based type stuff, if it needs those nitrifying bacteria, well, so be it, they'll be there. This is a soil-based type thing going on here. But then I went down, it's got added magnesium, 3%. And then it's got all the trace elements as well. And just looking down the list, I thought, yeah, you haven't got any calcium though, have you? But yes, I have, because this goes in the tap water. And although the calcium in the tap water is not exactly perfect for using hydroponically and in orchid media and things like that, it's perfectly good out in the soil. The reactions in the soil will make that calcium available. So apart from the lack of calcium, that would be a flipping good orchid fertiliser with some proper calcium added. But that's pretty good stuff, I thought. And then I this says 1 scoop per gallon, and the sort of strength I use it outside is somewhere between like 1/4 and 1/2 scoop. I don't use this full strength by any means. I mean, some of the things getting watered out there are sort of native wild flowers and ferns and my bonsai. Obviously a high concentration is not going to do them a lot of good. So like with my orchids, I feed low. And I thought, I wonder what sort of strength that is. So I've just got the TDS meter out, and I mean, when I'm feeding my orchids, there's the low level feed, sort of 80 parts per million to 100, and then a normal feed this time of year is around 150 parts per million. And at quarter strength, this stuff is coming out at just over 400 parts per million. So for using on orchids, that will be, in my book, too strong. Although some people do feed at that level successfully. But yeah, I thought this was randomly grabbed off the shelf to feed the stuff in the garden. And on looking at it, it's not actually that bad. It's got everything that's needed in there. And add that to tap water, you've got pretty good stuff going on here. And that's pure coincidence, not deliberately singled out. It just happened to be probably what was the cheapest on the shelf, knowing me. But yeah, so you don't have to have specialised orchid fertilisers, but you do need to watch the strength. The stuff for use out in the garden is pretty strong stuff at its full level. But that would last 20 years for orchids, the amount I'm using. Given I've just used 6 watering cans full out round the garden, because we haven't had it. Everybody else round here had rain yesterday except us. When I got home from the Orchid Society, the ground was bone dry here, and yet for at least 2/3 of that journey home I was driving in heavy rain. But got home here, not a light. So the garden really hasn't had a lot of rain lately. It's starting to get a bit dry. But with the English weather the way it is, I expect there'll be some on the way soon. Doesn't like this old sunshine, don't last long. But yeah, I was quite impressed. Just a little side thing.